They say time changes everything, but sometimes it changes nothing except how a person looks at you. Once, she looked at you like a king-eye's bright voice, soft, leaning in as if every word you spoke mattered. Now you're lucky to get a delayed text or a half-hearted smile. The warmth is gone, replaced by an invisible wall you can't name. And in the quiet of your thoughts, you wonder, what happened? Was it something you said, or worse? Is it your age? Before you start chasing her attention again or trying to become someone she already met and forgot, pause, breathe, hear me out. Because what's pushing her away might not be what you think. Many men, when they feel a woman pulling away, respond the same way. They overcompensate. They try harder, offer more, give without being asked. They think if I can just show her I'm still worth it, she'll come back. But when you start performing for her approval, you push her further away. Why? Because your energy changes. You move from grounded presence to silent desperation. Women, especially younger women, are sensitive to that shift. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. It's not her behavior alone that creates your fear, it's how you interpret it. If you see her distance as proof you're losing value, you'll act in ways that confirm her suspicion. Bet you don't fully believe in your own worth." Younger women aren't drawn to older men for their wallets or status. That might get a glance, but it won't keep her gaze. What truly holds her attention is presence, depth, calm, quiet power that says, without words, I know who I am. In a room full of men laughing too loudly, talking too much, competing for attention, the man who is still, who listens, who moves with purpose, that man owns the room without needing to claim it. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Your age, your experiences, your scars, they're not weaknesses. They are proof you've been tested and endured. If you carry them with quiet confidence, they become your greatest strength. When you show up with self-assurance, not arrogance, but the calm certainty of a man who's already arrived, something shifts. She doesn't feel she's holding your worth in her hands. She feels you hold it. And that is magnetic. If you feel her slipping away, resist the urge to flood her with attention or prove yourself. Instead, return to yourself. Anchor into your values, your rhythm, your life. Let her see you are not defined by her interest or absence. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The moment you chase her approval, you hand over that freedom. The moment you stop, you reclaim it. Before you send that extra text or buy that unnecessary gift, ask yourself, am I leading with calm or seeking validation? Because that difference is the difference between being unforgettable and being easily replaced. Next, we'll talk about the first and most magnetic quality you can radiate: certainty. The kind that doesn't just get her attention, but keeps it. Certainty. It's one of those qualities you don't even have to announce. People can feel it the moment you walk into a room. And for a woman, especially a younger woman, certainty is like gravity. She can't always explain why she's drawn to it, but she feels it in her body. Uncertainty, on the other hand, kills attraction faster than bad breath. You could be the best dressed, most accomplished man there. But if you hesitate, if you second-guess yourself, she'll feel the tremor in your energy. And in that moment, she steps back, sometimes without even knowing why. Let me tell you a story. Mark was 46, divorced, a solid career, kept himself in shape. He met Tessa, a 29-year-old, on a dating app. He clicked right away. Playful texts, late-night calls, effortless banter. But when it came time to meet in person, something shifted. Instead of leading, Mark kept asking her, "Where do you want to go? Are you sure you're comfortable there? Would you prefer someplace else?" He thought he was being polite. She felt he was being unsure. And here's the hard truth. If you're not sure of you, why should she be? The deeper truth about certainty isn't arrogance. It's not about overpowering or dominating. It's about knowing who you are, what you like, and where you're going, and then moving in that direction without apology. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That's the essence of certainty alignment between your thoughts, your words, and your actions. You don't need to sell yourself because your consistency does the talking. Younger women, especially, are sensitive to a man's direction, and many are still figuring out who they are. When they meet a man who already knows where he's headed, it's like standing next to a lighthouse in a storm. It's grounding, safe, magnetic. Practical examples of certainty in action. If she asks, "Where do you want to go for dinner?" and you reply, "Wherever you want," you're not being respectful. You're placing the burden on her to lead. That subtle shift flips the polarity. The masculine role is to set direction, not dump the wheel into her lap. Instead, say, "I've made us a reservation at this cozy Italian place downtown. I think you'll love it." No overthinking, no seeking approval. It's just clear, calm leadership. When you do this, something changes in her body language. She leans in. She relaxes. Because in that moment, she doesn't have to manage the direction. She can simply enjoy the ride. The Stoic Foundation Stoicism teaches that you can't control the outcome, only your choices. You can't control whether she liked the restaurant, but you can control how you present yourself. Certainty comes from making decisions and standing by them, not stubbornly, but confidently. Epictetus reminded us, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." This is the mindset of a man who radiates certainty. You choose, you act, and you let go of what you cannot control. It's what makes you unshakable. Why this matters so much? A woman isn't looking for perfection. She's looking for a man who moves through the world with clarity, someone who won't collapse into hesitation at the first sign of uncertainty. When you hesitate, she senses instability. When you decide, she feels safe. So ask yourself, am I leading with direction or hiding behind politeness? Am I owning my choices or waiting for her to make me feel comfortable? Because the truth is, simple certainty is rare, and rare is irresistible. If certainty is the foundation, then emotional control is the fortress that protects it. It's the invisible shield that separates the men she remembers from the ones she forgets. Younger women notice it instantly. In fact, they often test for it consciously or unconsciously, not because they're cruel, because they want to know if your calm is real or just an act. The test most men fail. A younger guy might bring energy, wit, and confidence on a good day, but the moment she challenges him, pulls back, or flirts with another man in his line of sight, the mask cracks. His emotions spill out: jealousy, insecurity, overreaction. Now picture the older man who has lived through enough storms to know better. He's not cold. He's composed. Doesn't flinch when tested. Doesn't need to prove himself through an outburst or by chasing. His calm is not weakness. It's leadership. Why this is magnetic women especially. Younger ones crave stability. Not the boring kind, but the kind that makes them feel safe in the presence of masculine energy that isn't blown off course by every emotional gust. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That's not just philosophy. It's a roadmap for attraction. When she pulls away, you could panic and start over texting, or you could pause, breathe, and observe. When she flirts to test your reaction, you could get defensive, or you could smile, keep your composure, and let the moment pass without giving away your power. A real-world example, Daniel, 50, met a 27-year-old named Claire. They hit it off quickly, good conversation, playful energy, but Claire had a habit of showing up late. Most men Daniel's age would have reacted with irritation or sarcasm. Instead, he simply greeted her with a warm smile and continued as if nothing had happened. Later, lamented, "I was testing to see if you'd get upset. You didn't. That told me more about you than anything else." That's the power of emotional control. It communicates without words that you're not at the mercy of anyone's mood. How to build it? Emotional control doesn't mean shutting down. Doesn't mean pretending you feel nothing. It means choosing your responses instead of being dragged by your reactions. It means keeping your internal temperature steady no matter how hot the situation gets, Seneca wrote. He who has great power should use it lightly. Your emotions are power. Use them with intention. You stay calm, you create a safe container. For her emotions, without being consumed by them. Why she tests you sometimes. She's not even aware she's doing it. But deep down, she's looking for a man whose presence can hold her storms. If every time she's moody, distant, or dramatic, you get swept away with her, she learns she can't rely on your stability. But when you remain grounded, you stand out instantly. Not because you say the perfect thing, but because you don't. Let her control your emotional state. The takeaway, ask yourself, do I lead my emotions, or do they lead me? Do I react to her every move, or do I choose my moves regardless of hers? Because the man who can master himself doesn't just earn her attraction, he earns her respect. In the game of connection, respect is the true currency. There's a certain type of man who commands attention without raising his voice, without waving his arms, without putting on a show. He doesn't need the spotlight. He is the spotlight. That's quiet power. Why loud often means weak weave. All met the opposite. The man with the booming laugh, the flashy watch, the endless stories where he's always the hero. At first glance, he seems confident. But if you look closely, you'll notice something. The louder he gets, the more you realize it's all performance, a mask to cover an empty core. Loudness tries to prove, quiet simply is. A real example. Mark, 51, owned a successful landscaping company in Phoenix. No designer logos, no curated look-at-me posts on social media. At a friend's barbecue, he met Rachel, a 34-year-old realtor. She had dated her share of men who came in hot with charm and flash, only to burn out quickly. Mark was different. He didn't rush to dominate the conversation. He listened. When he spoke, it was intentional. And when he looked at her, it wasn't. A performance, it was focused, calm, and unshakable. Later, Rachel admitted he didn't try to charm me. And that made him magnetic. The essence of quiet power isn't passivity. It's ownership of your space without needing to fill it with noise. It's moving with intention rather than impulse. It's choosing your words like currency, not loose change. Epictetus reminded us. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Quiet power starts here, not in saying nothing, but in saying only what matters. Why it attracts younger women, especially in today's constant stream of digital noise, are surrounded by men performing for attention in apps, in bars, on Instagram. When they meet a man who doesn't add to the chaos, but instead grounds the room, it's a shock to their system. And in that stillness, feel something they didn't even know they were missing. Stability. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In a world of loud posturing, quiet strength is rebellion. It tells her you're not following a script. You've written your own. Practical ways to build quiet power. Control your body language. Move slowly. Don't fidget. Master eye contact. Not aggressive, not timid, just steady and present. Value silence. Let her fill it if she wants, but don't fear it. Be selective with words. Speak to add value, not to fill space. When you do this, something happens. You create curiosity. And curiosity is fuel for attraction. The deeper layer quiet power works because it's rare. It says, I'm here. I don't need to be seen to know my worth. That forces others to lean in, to want to know more. So ask yourself, am I talking to be heard or standing to be felt? Am I chasing attention or do I already have it without trying? Because when you master quiet power, you don't compete for the room. You own it without even asking. There are men who make an impression for a night. And then there are men who leave a mark for years. The difference isn't money. It isn't looks. It isn't charm. It's integrity. What integrity really is? Integrity is the invisible currency of trust. It's what tells the world you can rely on me even when no one's watching. It's not a performance. It's not about looking good in public while cutting corners in private. It's about consistency between who you say you are and how you actually live. Many men confuse image with integrity. They think if they dress the part, smile at the right time, and post inspirational quotes, they've done enough. But women, especially those who've been burned before, can tell the difference between a man who lives his values and one who sells an image. Marcus Aurelius said. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Integrity is simple, but it is not easy. It demands alignment, even when it costs you something in the short term. Why it matters in attraction for a younger woman. Meeting a man of integrity is rare. Many have dealt with broken promises, shifting boundaries, and words that don't match actions. So when she encounters a man who is steady, who means what he says, it's magnetic not because he's perfect, but because he's real. Think about it. If you tell her I'll call you tomorrow, and you don't, she doesn't just think you're busy. She wonders if she can trust anything you say. And once trust is gone, attraction soon follows. A real-world example: Chris, 48, met Maya, 31, through mutual friends. Early on, he told her, "I'm not dating anyone else right now." A week later, Maya saw a flirty comment from another woman on his social media. Even if Chris hadn't initiated it, ignoring it would have been easy. But instead, he addressed it openly. "I saw the comment you're talking about. I want you to know nothing's going on there, and I'll set a clear boundary to make sure it doesn't cause confusion again." That simple moment told Maya more than weeks of sweet words ever could. The Stoic approach to integrity: the Stoics believed that character wasn't proven in grand moments, but in small, daily choices. Epictetus wrote, "First tell yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Integrity is that alignment between your inner code and your outer actions, whether anyone is applauding or not. Practical ways to live it: keep your word, especially when it's inconvenient. Face discomfort instead of hiding from it. Choose truth over temporary. Piece a hard truth today builds trust tomorrow. Be the same man in private that you are in public. When you live this way, included feels safe investing their trust in you. And trust is the soil in which attraction grows deep roots. The lasting effect: a man without integrity is forgettable because his words carry no weight. A man with integrity is unforgettable because he becomes the rare anchor in a drifting world. So, before you say something to win a moment, ask yourself, am I building trust right now, or am I trading it for short-term approval? Because in the end, looks fade, status changes. But integrity, if you guard it, becomes your signature. What people remember long after you've left the room. There's a myth that's been whispered into men's ears for decades. If you show her you want her, you'll lose your power. Play it cool, stay distant, hide your feelings. And so, too many men shrink themselves, dilute their attraction, and bury their desire under layers of jokes, friendly texts, and passive conversation. But here's the truth: it's not desire that turns her off. It's neediness disguised as desire. The difference between the two: desire says, "I see you, I want you, but I am whole without you." Neediness says, "I need you to want me, or I don't know who I am." A woman, especially a younger woman, can feel the difference immediately. One pulls her in. The other makes her pull away, eh? Real-world example: Kevin, 47, divorced for 2 years, met Haley, 30. At a networking event in San Diego, she was confident, sharp, playful. Kevin was drawn to her energy, but instead of expressing that interest clearly, he tried to play it cool. He joked, but never flirted. He texted, but never initiated anything bold. He thought he was building intrigue. In reality, he was blending into the background. Haley moved on, not because she disliked him, but because she never felt him. Months later, Kevin realized his mistake. Playing small doesn't build attraction, it erases it. The power of owning your desire when you own your attraction to a woman. You're not begging for her approval. You're not chasing her validation. You're simply stating your truth with calm, grounded energy, Seneca said. If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable. Desire without ownership is like a ship without a destination. You drift until you disappear from her radar. Owning your desire is setting a course. It's making your intention known without pushing for a specific outcome. She can accept or decline, but either way, she respects the clarity. How to express it without neediness. Be direct, but not demanding. I like how you carry yourself. I'd like to take you out. Hold boundaries. If she's not interested, Accept it with grace and move forward. Stay grounded in yourself. Whether she says yes or no, you remain the same man. When you communicate this way, you stand out instantly. Why? Because most men either hide their attraction out of fear or smother her with it out of insecurity. The Stoic mindset Epictetus taught, no great thing is created suddenly. Attraction, too, is cultivated over time. Owning your desire doesn't mean bombarding her with attention. It means letting her feel your intentions steadily, like a quiet but unshakable presence. When she senses that you want her but don't need her, you become a rare energy in her life, one she'll remember even if she walks away. The takeaway: stop hiding your desire in fear of rejection. Stop pretending you don't care when you do. Instead, stand in your truth. Look her in the eye and let her see that you want her, but also that you'll be perfectly fine if she's not ready to step toward you, because a man who can own his desire without losing himself is a man she'll never forget. You walk into a date, and without realizing it, your mind starts racing. What should I say next? How do I seem more impressive? What if there's an awkward silence? That's performance. And performance kills presence. The hidden cost of performing. When you're performing, you're not really there. Your body's in the chair across from her, but your mind is in the future, running scripts, calculating reactions, planning your next move. She feels the gap. She might not know how to name it, but she senses it. You're not fully with her. And here's the truth, women. Remember presence far longer than they. Remember perfect lines. What presence actually is? Presence is being rooted in the moment. It's not about saying the right thing. It's about being the right energy. It's listening to understand, not to respond. It's letting silence be comfortable instead of scrambling to fill it. It's keeping your eyes on her, not drifting to the door, your phone, or the next distraction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." Not because the past and future aren't important, but because all your power exists in now. A real-world example: Ethan, 52, met Sophie, 28, through mutual friends. At first, Sophie thought he was just another older guy trying too hard. But on their first coffee, something surprised her. He wasn't rushing the conversation. He wasn't trying to dominate it either. When she spoke, he actually listened. He asked follow-up questions, not to be clever, but to understand her perspective. He noticed the shift in her tone when she spoke about her childhood and asked gently about it. There was no sense of him trying to win points only, a sense that he was there. Afterwards, Sophie said, "I can't remember everything you said, but I remember how you made me feel safe and seen." Why presence is rare in a world addicted to speed, noise, and distraction. Presence is almost alien. Dating apps have trained people to treat each other like profiles to be swiped. Social media has made attention fragmented. Most men are looking past the woman in front of them, scanning for what's next. The man who can slow down and be fully here becomes unforgettable, not because he's flashy, because he's real. The Stoic foundation, Epictetus taught, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen. Twice as much as we speak. Presence starts with listening. It's an act of discipline, refusing to let your mind wander, resisting the urge to impress, simply being. How to practice presence: breathe before you speak. It slows your mind and grounds you. Listen without rehearsing your response. Observe her nonverbal cue: tone, posture, microexpressions. Embrace silence as part of connection, not a failure of conversation, the lasting effect when you're present. You don't need gimmicks to hold her attention. Your calm focus does it for you. She remembered the way you made her feel, not rushed, not pressured, not just another box you were trying to check. So ask yourself, am I trying to impress her? Or am I trying to know her? Because performance fades the moment the act ends.
8.
Presence lingers long after you've walked away. Most men spend their dating lives chasing a single goal: being chosen. They tailor their words, adjust their style, shape-shift their personality just to match what they think she wants. They believe that if they play their cards right, they'll win her approval. But here's the truth. The man who's desperate to be chosen has already given away his power. The hidden cost of performing: when you perform for someone's validation, you put them in the driver's seat of their life. Your self-worth rises and falls on their reaction. You're no longer showing up as you. You're showing up as a character you think they'll like, and women can feel it instantly. A man who performs is always seeking permission. A man who chooses is already walking his path and decides who he invites along. A real-world example, Jason. 51 was a successful architect, divorced with a grown son. On a flight to Chicago, he met Amanda, 29, witty, charming, and flirtatious. They talked for hours, exchanged numbers, and he felt a spark. But once they started texting, Jason slipped into performance mode, complimented her constantly, avoided serious topics, laughed off her last-minute cancellations, and never addressed the imbalance in effort. Why? Because he didn't want to scare her off. The irony. She drifted away anyway, because she could feel. He was trying to earn a place in her life rather than deciding if she deserved a place in his. The shift from performing to choosing. What if Jason had slowed down when he felt her pulling back? What if, instead of increasing his effort, he had asked himself, is she showing up in a way I respect? Do her actions match the kind of connection I want? That's the shift. Performing says, please validate me. Choosing says, I know my value. I decide who gets access to it. It's a Stoic foundation of choice, Epictetus wrote. No man is free who is not master of himself. If your emotions, energy, and self-image depend on whether or not she picks you, you're not free. You're a prisoner of her opinion. A Stoic man sets his own standards. He knows what qualities he values in a partner, and he filters everything through that lens. He doesn't lower the bar to keep someone's interest, he maintains it even. If it means walking away, practical ways to start choosing: know your standards. Write down the qualities you must have in a relationship. Observe actions over words. Attraction means little without consistency. Pause before pursuing. Ask yourself if she aligns with your values before investing more. Let go of scarcity. There will always be another opportunity. Don't cling to one out of fear. Why this is magnetic: when you stop trying to be picked, something changes in your energy. You're not chasing approval, you're screening for alignment, and that's rare. That's attractive. That's the energy of a man who isn't afraid to walk away if the connection isn't right. The takeaway: ask yourself, am I performing to be liked or choosing with clarity? Because the man who chooses is the man who leads, in leadership, in life, and love is irresistible. Money can open doors, can get you a seat at the table, a ticket to the event, a dinner in the nicest part of town. But here's the problem. Money is predictable. Predictable never lingers in her mind for long. What truly captivates her is mystery, the sense that there's more to you than she can see right now, that she could spend months discovering you and still feel like there are hidden rooms in your story. Why mystery is magnetic: mystery is not about being vague, secretive, or manipulative. It's about depth. It's about having layers, interests, experiences, and perspectives that unfold naturally over time instead of being dumped on the table all at once. Money says, here's what I have. Mystery says, there's more to me than you can measure. A real-world example: Elliot, 53, was successful in business and had no problem showing it. When he met Jenna, 30, he brought her to expensive restaurants, wore designer suits, and drove her around in a luxury car. She was impressed for a while, but eventually she stopped returning his calls. Why? Because she knew everything he wanted her to know in the first week. There were no layers left to peel back, no intrigue to keep her curious. He'd led with his possessions instead of his presence. Contrast that with Daniel, 50. He also did well financially, but he never made it the center of his interactions. He spoke more about his travels, the books that changed his thinking, the challenges that shaped his character. He listened more than he spoke, and when he did speak, he revealed just enough to spark curiosity without over-explaining. Him later, and this time, she stayed. The Stoic perspective on mystery. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are consumed with impressing her through wealth, your energy reflects that tanned, she feels it. But if your mind is rooted in discipline, purpose, and inner growth, that energy colors your presence, creating a kind of quiet intrigue that money can't buy. Epictetus also advised, Be silent for the most part, or if you speak, say only what is necessary and in few words. Mystery often lives in what you choose not to reveal right away. How to cultivate mystery without playing games. Share in doses. Let your stories and experiences come out naturally over time. Be genuinely curious. Ask more than you tell it makes. Her want to ask back. Live a full life outside of dating. Have passions, projects, and goals that exist with or without her. Be comfortable with silence. Mystery grows when you don't rush to fill every pause. Why mystery works better than money. Money can attract attention, but mystery keeps it. Luxury becomes normal once she's seen it a few times, but depth keeps surprising her. It makes her want to know you on a level that can't be bought or copied. The takeaway: stop trying to buy her fascination. Start earning her curiosity. Because the man who leads with mystery doesn't need to perform. He simply lives in a way that makes her want to see more. You might not have the same body you did at 25. Your hairline may have retreated. Your face may show the lines of your journey. But these are not weaknesses. They are marks of experience, of wisdom earned through years of trial and triumph. Age is not something to hide. It's something to own. Because when carried with awareness and confidence, it becomes a source of power younger men can't fake. Why age can be magnetic: younger women aren't just drawn to looks. They're drawn to presence and energy that feels lived in, grounded, and deeply masculine. They want to feel the weight of your experience, the calm of your perspective, the steadiness of a man who's been through storms and learned to navigate them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." You've had time to live that truth. To become the man who embodies the lessons he's learned instead of just talking about them. The trap to avoid. Age becomes a liability when you try to play a young man's game, pretending to be someone you're not. Chasing trends, competing on the wrong battlefield. That's when she senses insecurity. Instead, double down on your strengths: clarity, self-respect, emotional intelligence. Show her you know who you are and where you're going. Lead without rushing. Stand without flinching. A real-world example. Anthony, 54, met Mia, 29, at a charity event. He didn't try to impress her with youthfulness. He spoke about his travels, his lessons in business and relationships, his hobbies that had nothing to do with impressing anyone. Mia later said, it wasn't that he was older, it was that he carried his age with confidence. He didn't pretend, he didn't chase, he just was. The Stoic approach to aging: Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Your age is proof that you've lived, that you've gathered wisdom. The Stoics embrace the passage of time as a gift. Teach. You're an opportunity to refine your character and deepen your presence. How to use age as an advantage? Own your story. Don't downplay your past. Share the lessons it's taught you. Lead with calm confidence. Your steadiness is rare in a world of emotional volatility. Stay vital. Care for your health, body and mind. Not to look young, but to stay strong. Embody your values. Live in a way that reflects the wisdom you've gained. The takeaway: stop seeing your age as something to overcome. See it as the very thing that makes you unforgettable. When you walk into a room with the weight of your history and the lightness of your presence, you become a man who stands apart. Because youth fades, looks change. But a man who has made peace with his agenda, turned it into quiet authority, becomes timeless. If you've followed this far, you already know you are not here to chase attention. You are here to master presence. You are not here to be chosen. You are here to choose yourself. You are not here to compete with noise. You are here to embody quiet, unshakable strength. Why this matters: every man gets older, but not every man gets wiser. Some cling to the habits and insecurities of their youth, hoping to replay old games for new rewards. Others embrace the lessons time has given them and become the kind of men people look up to, not because they demand respect, but because they carry it in their very being. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." The life you want: one of grounded confidence, of meaningful connection, of respect freely given begins the moment you decide to live it, not the moment someone else validates you. Your choice moving forward, you can keep playing the same role, chasing temporary approval, performing for women who barely know you, or you can step into the role of the man who leads himself first, the man whose energy commands a room without raising his voice, the man who radiates certainty, control, integrity, and presence in every interaction. The call to action from this moment forward: stop asking, "How can I make her see my value?" Instead, start asking, "How can I live my value so clearly that the right people can't miss it?" Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." You are preparing now by shaping your mind, your habits, your energy. The opportunities will come. When they do, you won't need to force anything. You'll simply be ready. The final note: respect your time, protect your energy, lead with calm, live with depth. And never forget, the most magnetic man in the room is the one who doesn't need to prove he belongs there.